Hey guys, my name is Erin and today I am starting a brand new channel with a brand new series called Chapter by Chapter. Now, do you love young adult novels? Same. Do you find yourself hiding in Barnes & Noble looking through all of them and looking through all the reviews and wondering which book hype to jump on next? Same. Now, do you have a problem waiting for all the book talks to come out as you're reading the book, and then when they do come out and you're not quite finished with the book, you have a slight problem, easing past the chapters that you've read and possibly listening to some spoilers and then stopping it as soon as you realize you've ruined it for yourself? Same. So join me on this journey because today, chapter by chapter, we are going to be going through the greatly anticipated King of Scars. Okay, so can I just say that I didn't go into this book really knowing much about it. I tried to stay away from as many spoilers as possible because I find myself ruining a lot of books just by, looking for pictures on Tumblr and then I see all the spoilers and it's just ruined for myself. So I didn't do that with this book. Jumping into this first chapter where we start with a little boy named Dima on his family's goose farm, I was pretty shocked by how scary it was. I don't know if that's just because I have an 8-year-old myself, but I was worried for Dima. Leigh Bardugo, you made me believe that you were going to murder a child in this first chapter of the book. So, Dima's the youngest child on his family's goose farm, and basically his brothers think he's a mistake and an extra mouth to feed. As we soon find out, he's pretty superstitious like most Ravkins are. He believes in fairy tales still, believes in the ghosts of grandma's past that are going to come and drink all the good kvass by the fire. So Leigh Bardugo sets the tone with kind of a horror movie opening. It's a stormy night, there's a small boy sitting by the fire, his dog's barking by the back door. These are classic horror signs that something bad is going to happen, and that he's probably going to be the first one to die. He's 8, Leigh. He's 8. So not only do we find out that there's a storm raging on outside in the middle of the night, but the barn doors are flapping open, and it was Dima's job to shut them, and he knows he shut them. So why are they open? Even though Dima's really scared to go outside, he knows his dad's going to test him and see if he's brave and responsible enough to go and take care of his chore that his dad thinks he kind of messed up. So Dima goes outside, and as soon as he does, he gets a pretty bad feeling, and so do I, to be quite honest. So the dog that's been barking on the back porch this whole time, he realizes isn't even there anymore. And as he's walking towards the barn, he sees her hiding in a bush. And he looks at the barn door and realizes that the plank is completely smashed that was holding it together. Then as soon as Dima walks into the barn door slams shut, and his little lantern that he's holding with all of his might blows out. So what horror movie signs are we on now? Worse than his light going out, he starts to smell blood. And the reason that he's familiar with the smell of blood is because of this, and I have to read this passage because I think it's great. Dima knew that smell from when they slaughtered the geese for the holiday table, the hot copper tang of blood. Go back, he told himself. In the darkness, something moved. Dima caught a glint of moonlight, the shine of what might have been eyes, and then it was as if a piece of shadow broke away and came sliding across the barn. That was pretty scary to me. I'm sitting in my living room, surrounded by my family, all the lights on, my dogs are around, I know my cats are sleeping peacefully upstairs, and I'm terrified for Dima. I'm worried that something pretty bad's going to happen to him. So, as I'm sitting surrounded by my loved ones, in the warmth of my own home, I'm yelling out loud,
"Oh my God, Dima! Oh my God, something's going to happen to this little boy."
And my husband just looks up and says, See, this is why we're having this discussion together, because I don't really have anyone to talk to about these books that I'm reading. And I think it's nice to start a dialogue whenever you don't, have a book group or anything like that. So why not start a YouTube channel? So as this creature's slinking across the barn towards Dima, he realizes that it's wearing what could have been really nice clothes. And as I'm reading this book, I'm saying out loud now,
No, it can't be him. No, this can't be him. It just can't be him.
Denial isn't just a river, and if it was, it'd be flowing through my body freely, because I was in denial pretty much throughout this entire chapter until the very end. So Dima's still pretty terrified, and he's clutching that little lantern that he has, and he says, Papa, can you hear me? No, Dima, he can't. So the creature seems to recognize this word, and then I'm still in denial thinking, oh, see, the creature's just some noble guy from down the road, and he recognizes the word Papa, so he must have a son. This can't can't be him, it can't be him. I'm still out loud saying, this can't be him. Dima realizes that there's dark veins spreading across his fingers and there's talons coming out. I'm still in denial. I'm still hoping that this isn't who we think it is. So the creature's getting closer to Dima and he realizes that he has the features of what could have been a man. But then the creature opens his mouth and smiles. Dima realizes that he's smiling because he's going to have a nice full belly, full of Dima. And then Dima wets himself. And I just thought this was so sad. And can I just say that I think it's fantastic that Leigh Bardugo opens her books with these chapters with characters that we're not really familiar with and that we probably will only hear of again in passing. I always think that makes for a really strong opening. So the monster goes to lunch for Dima, and then, out of nowhere, comes Zoya! And I wanted to really love Zoya in the other books. Probably just like you really want the mean girls in school to like you. And Zoya might be one of those people. As Zoya's walking into the barn, she uses her powers to smack the creature up against the back wall, just like it's nothing. And in this moment, Dima cries even harder than he was before because Zoya is so beautiful, he must be dead. She's so beautiful to him, he assumes that he's dead because how can anyone be that beautiful unless they're a saint? But instead of Zoya, the saint, coming over and picking him up and telling him his prayers and everything's going to be all right, she keeps on walking towards the creature. Dima's like, oh, she must just be a warrior saint instead. That's why she's not coddling me. And she walks over to the creature who, okay, I admit it, it's Nikolai. I can say this out loud now. I can say it to myself. It's him. I was pretty shocked in this moment, even though there were all of these clues leading up to it. I thought that Nikolai wouldn't be changing into this creature anytime soon. I thought that this would be a problem happening later on in the book. I didn't realize that it was already happening. Well, I should have realized it was already happening. Just hoping for the best. So what I was guessing this creature was at the beginning of the book was something left over from the Darkling. Just like how Alina's powers got spread out to everybody, maybe a little bit of darkness got spread out to everybody too. The Darkling was pretty powerful, so I was just assuming that something had to be left over from. Zoya goes over to the creature, puts him in shackles, and smacks him on the nose like he's a naughty pet. And that's just so very Zoya. And so she gives Dima 2 coins. One for the damages, which is just how I picture her saying it. My accent's probably not the best, but that's how I picture it. And she stops and gives Dima another coin and says, this one's for you and don't share it with your brothers. And I'm thinking, how long has she been watching this family? How long has she been tracking Nikolai? How does she know that his brothers are terrible people? Was she waiting until the last minute to see if Nikolai was going to eat this kid before she intervened? These are the questions I'm starting to have. So when Zoya gets Nikolai under control and she has him by the chains, and I can just picture her just sauntering and leading him over like this because it's just a Zoya thing to do, right? And at this point, Dima just really wants to go inside and cry into his mother's skirts and be told everything's going to be okay. But he can't help but watch because he's still really entranced by Zoya's beauty. He's probably in complete shock as to what just happened to him in his near-death experience. And then he really thinks he's dreaming because he sees a coach pull up and this guy come out and say, "Watch your head, Your Highness." And that is how the chapter ends. I was completely blown away. I absolutely love this first chapter. I love the horror tones that she set up. I love that we still see that Zoya is a badass. And I hate to see that Nikolai is still under the Darkling's power somehow. I was really worried for Dima. I was worried that we were going to have this cut to black moment as soon as the creature lunges for him, and then we would find out later what happened. And now, my burning questions that I have at the end of this chapter, for Nikolai especially, is what? Why? And how. So thanks for joining me today for this first chapter. After I read this, I was hooked. And yeah, I read a couple more. And don't worry, I'm still going to break them down for you. And please feel free to comment any of your thoughts and feelings down below. I would absolutely love to know what you guys think about this, which is why I started this channel. Thanks, and have a good day wherever you are.